Hey there, fanboys and fangirls. This is your host, The Other Luke, and joining me as always,
The Other Host.
And today is April 26th, and if you consider yourselves a fan of ours, you probably know what today is. Besides Alien Day, it is the day that Avengers Infinity War was released, and we have a special guest tonight, a good buddy of ours who we feel's knowledge of the Marvel Universe exceeds our knowledge of the Star Wars Universe. So, without any further ado, Zach, the Cannibal Thrift.
Hey guys, how's it going? Super excited.
What up?
It's Marvel.
So we went out tonight and we caught it here in Shelby, and one thing I wanted to do is just start off is just each person just kind of go around and just kind of say one sentence about the movie, whether it was just how you felt about the movie, like one part of the movie, just one sentence to kind of show how that movie has set with you. Sean, let's start with you.
It was stressful. A good kind of stressful though. Not bad. I was definitely stressing the whole time.
The edge of your seat?
Yeah.
What about you, Zach?
It's kind of the culmination of a childhood dream to see that many comic book characters come together that perfectly on screen. I couldn't be happier with it. So, super excited.
Yeah, I would just say I felt like a kid. But that's pretty much how I can contain it, because it felt just like watching like an episode of, Spider-Man the animated series or X-Men or something. You know how like when there's like this big event going on, we're going all over the universe and seeing all these different people, and it was cool to see that live action and on that scale.
Yeah, 10 years in the making. We waited that long for this movie, and it did not disappoint.
It did not indeed.
Yeah, it was definitely worth the wait, that's for sure.
So I guess for one of the first things we want to talk about with the movie is, we're going to this is just going to be kind of a quick little overview, just kind of our quick first thoughts on the movie, because we're all going to probably see it again once or twice before we record again, and then when we record again, we'll be able to have a little bit more, I guess, a more in-depth review to go over it. Right now we just kind of want to talk about our oohs and our ahs and our like holy shits and what's going on. So I guess, so Sean, starting with you again, what part and what characters were you most excited to kind of see play through on screen versus what you were thinking, what we saw in the trailers?
Well, being a huge Spider-Man fan, I was definitely excited to see his part in this, more so than any of the other characters. And then I was really excited also to see Thanos in action, because we've just seen him sitting down this whole 10 years. That's all we've got out of him.
Yeah, he's just kind of been sitting in the back.
Just sitting, letting this all play out in front of him. But yeah, those are the two I was really looking forward to.
Yeah.
To seeing.
Yeah, see, I was looking forward to a lot with Spider-Man. I like how that kind of, it brought him into it. How he was on that trip, and then he's just like make a distraction, and then he's just out of there.
Yeah, he's dead. Yeah.
He was just gone, and someone's eventually going to realize that every time Peter's gone, Spider-Man shows up, or something with Spider-Man happens. Like, these kids are like on an academic like team to where they're really smart, so they should know to put two and two together. It's like, hey, Pete's disappearing. Oh, Spider-Man's saving someone. Hey,
the
Pete.
dude jumped out of a bus, guys.
Right.
He jumped out of a moving bus. Like,
he pulled the emergency. I thought buses were supposed to.
Right, there was an alarm.
Yeah. Oh, Hollywood.
And then how he was like, he fell and the suit kind of latched onto him and then morphed, and then he kind of went from there.
Oh, heck yeah. I was impressed with the iron suit. Good with the legs and everything. I loved it.
Yeah, how it was like a whole like moving suit, like like Tony Stark's suit. It was like all the
yeah, the nano. Yeah,
it's awesome because spoiler, whenever he's fighting Thanos towards the end, and his suit keeps regenerating to parts that he needs, and he's running out of the nanos, and you can see him like have to condense it and starting to like have to fight like on a whim. But I think my favorite part, though, even though it wasn't anything related with Spider-Man, was probably the forging of Thor's new hammer with him looking for the handle.
It was an axe.
Well, yeah, the battle axe. My bad.
Stormbreaker.
How Groot.
And that we also. Yeah, and then wasn't Peter Dinklage's character
was a big troll, giant.
Yeah.
No.
And it was kept under wraps too forever.
He's part of ancient dwarfs that forged the weapons for like Asgardians and Celestials in general. That's, why it showed he forms the Infinity Gauntlet for Thanos. But
so he's able to create weapons that harness mythical powers.
Yeah, he's able to harness ancient energy from a dying star, which is what you've seen in the movie. What's the dying star? He's trying to start back up and all that stuff. But I thought they did a really good job with that character, and they've really done. Marvel's done a fantastic job of going more into the galactic side of things, and that was something I didn't really think they would do with the movies up until the first Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, and they've just went way further with it than I ever thought they could have. So I've been super excited about that.
Right, the fact that they didn't hold anything back on the pacing of it, it didn't seem like a 2.5 hour movie.
It felt like 10-year-old me reading a comic book. Right. That's what it felt like.
When we got to that final scene and we saw what we saw, I seriously thought there was still a good 30 minutes of the movie about to come.
Oh, totally. And the fact that they actually let him snap his fingers and spoiler. They let him do exactly what he was supposed to do, which is torn right out of the comic book, which was awesome. In the best way, Hollywood can do that. Which
is nice because it's kind of, that's what a lot of people were hoping for with Civil War. We were hoping to get some as much as we hate these characters dying, it's part of the whole arc of the whole story. So you kind of want to see what happens when these characters die, when they get reborn somehow. So, and it was nice that they were able to go all out. And actually, they got rid of, let's, again, spoiler, let's try to name everyone, because Black Panther's gone. Yep. Spider-Man's gone.
Well, we don't know that.
Well, they're not dead. They're just gone to another place.
I have an interesting theory about that one. If you read the comics, you have a lot of multiverses. You have the Ultimates universe, and you have the standard universe, and things like that. And with the Infinity Gauntlet being able to pretty much harness dimensional powers, and a lot of other things like that as well, I think it opens up a huge possibility for different timelines, which we've seen in the films they're not afraid to do with Days of Future Past and the X-Men movies that Fox Studios did. They changed pretty much their whole timeline after that movie.
It kind of gave them a little reset.
Yeah, like a reset button, pretty much. So it'd be interesting to see if Marvel does that same thing with, how Infinity War ended. So I'm excited to see where they go with that.
And it's interesting because originally they were thinking about doing 2 Infinity War movies, but they shrunk it to 1. And then Robert Downey Jr. convinced them to release it early. And it's I wonder if the way they ended it now was how they originally intended the second one ending, or did they have a different ending that was a little bit further along, but they try to condense it and they've kind of split that other piece maybe into the next Avenger, or maybe into Captain Marvel's movie. Because, as we saw, spoiler alert, the one and only post-credit scene is at the very end. There's not one after the initial first roll of credits. You have to wait till the very, very end. And it's not disappointing like Captain America and Homecoming either. We actually get to see Nick Fury and what's her name? She's in
Hill,
Agent Hill.
Yeah,
Maria Hill. Yeah,
she gets taken, and then all of a sudden, Fury's getting taken, but as he's taken, he drops this pager-looking thing, and you can see that he was calling out to Captain Marvel.
It was a pager. That's what it looked like, a pager.
Yeah, straight up.
So, interesting theory. I think you guys might like this. So, watching Spider-Man disappear, and then knowing there's a Spider-Man movie in the near future, the possibility of maybe like a Into the Spider-Verse type of movie would be awesome.
Right, where we get to see some of the other.
I mean, how awesome would it be to relive, the 90s cartoon and get to see, Madam Web and the Beyonder in a Marvel
Dude,
film?
I've always wanted to see Madam Web, and what's her name? Can't remember the actress's name, and which is bad because she's like, whenever I've thought of this role, I've just always wanted it to be her. It'll come to me later. It'll come back to me. But yeah, and speaking of like the release dates, that's another thing, because we've got, let's see, what is it? Yeah,
We've got Ant-Man and Wasp is the next Marvel film.
yeah, which is this coming July, which is interesting because we heard of Ant-Man. They referenced him, but we didn't really see him. He's off kind of doing his own thing, kind of like the same with Hawkeye. So it's interesting to see where they're going to pick up with Ant-Man. If it's going to be like partly in between the movie we just saw tonight, or if it's going to pick up like during that final scene and we're seeing them watch people getting taken away.
Well, I don't know if there's any truth to this, but I've read in a couple articles that Ant-Man and the Wasp are potentially going to take place directly after the events of Civil War, but I'm not really sure how reliable those sources are yet.
So kind of a sequel to Civil War, but like a prequel to Infinity War.
Exactly.
Okay. And then we have March of next year is when Captain Marvel is slated to come out.
And I do know Captain Marvel is supposed to be a prequel to almost all the Avengers movies. Captain Marvel,
because it's her. They're going back to her origins.
Yeah, it's set to take place in like the 90s is what I read. But again, I don't know. There are a lot.
Kind of like how we did with Black Panther. We went back, to what was it, the 80s for a while.
Yeah.
And then we came forward. And then Avengers 4, which isn't named yet, and they said they didn't want to name it because naming it would have given away everything that's going on in this one. And what was it you were saying? It the whole thing with Scarlet Witch, House of M.
Yeah, the House of M storyline in the comics. That the events of that happen after the death of Vision in the comics. So it'll be interesting to see if they tie that in somehow in the House of M storyline, which I would actually think that Scarlet Witch after Infinity War could possibly have her own standalone film one day. It'd be cool to see if they went in the House of M direction with that.
Yeah. And Sean, did you notice her hair changing like gradually throughout the movie?
I did not. I wasn't really focused on her.
I mean, I think she's a pretty badass character. But like,
don't get me wrong, she's a good character, but
no, you just don't care, Sean. You just don't care.
My attention was elsewhere. I was more focused on and the whole conflict the Hulk was having because he got his ass kicked at the beginning.
Right, and then the Hulk wouldn't come back out.
He was like, nope.
He's like, nope, do this on your own.
Not today.
Up to this point, in all the movies, Hulk's never lost a fight. I mean, really. So,
and Thanos was literally like 1-for-1.
And this is the first like straight ass whooping he took. So
it's the first time he actually felt real pain.
Exactly.
As the Hulk.
Plus, there was never, every time he tried to turn into the Hulk again, Thanos was not around. It's interesting to see if the Hulk is kind of, being prideful and only wanting to fight again when he gets a chance to go after Thanos, because he really didn't have another chance after getting his ass kicked on the ship. So that's an interesting thing to look at too.
Yeah, and it was cool to see him, since he couldn't change, he got into the Hulkbuster.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was really fun. And we did get to mention that Hulkbuster kicked his ass in Ultron too. It wasn't necessarily kicked it, but it squared up with him.
Yeah.
It went toe to toe with him for sure.
But yeah, we've for sure we got 3 deaths.
As far as deaths,
as far as like gone, I only counted 3.
Yeah, Loki
was it
right?
Yeah. Gamora.
She
was just.
And Heimdall.
Yep, Heimdall. Yep.
Oh, real quick, can we talk?
Those are the only 3 that
Skull.
Red.
Yeah. Oh, what the deuce?
I called it before we watched the movie. No one can believe me if they
It was crazy. We were on the way to the movie and we were talking about Red Skull and like what and the potential that he could be back, and which is interesting because I want to, if I remember correctly, way back when we were talking about the first Avenger and stuff, I believe. Let me look it up real quick. Let's see.
I thought it was Death for a second, like the lady, and then he started talking.
I definitely did think it was Lady Death for a second too, and when it revealed that it was Red Skull, I was so happy. It was awesome.
Yeah, like hearing the voice, I was like, Hugo Weaving. I don't know why I couldn't think of that name. Why it was difficult for me to get onto that. But anyway, if I remember correctly, I think it had come out that he had a contract that stated that he had a deal to appear in like 2 or 3 movies. And
to how many movies?
2 or 3. Like it was in his contract to appear. And at least, I want to say it was at least 2. And it was always confusing because like, okay, well, he quote unquote died in, you know, the first Avenger. So, but it was cool how they were able to bring him back. But again, we only saw him for a little bit. He was there and gone. So, I mean, and that's Captain America's like.
Well, you know, I think he'll have a bigger part to play later on because, you know, even separate from just Infinity War, you know, Hydra's still out there. Mm-hmm. You know, AIM's potentially still out there. You know, so Baron Zemo's still out there. Well, Zemo is still out there. You know, so you have a lot of, you know, characters from the comics that, you know, tie in with Red Skull and Hydra and all that. Now that we know he's still alive, that opens up, you know, an even broader scale for the Captain America films. So that's interesting to see what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, I know, and speaking of it, it's cool that, I mean, I guess they didn't switch Captain up. They just call him Captain now.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to see him kind of. I was thinking they would go in the direction of making him become Nomad. Yeah. But and they sort of did in a roundabout kind of way, but they never officially, you know, called him that. So
I did like his new shields though. Those are pretty dope.
I like the whole romance of the character now. It looked awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone.
I was like a fan of the shield thing.
There's some serious shit, and they were just like, "All right, guys, let's do this."
Oh yeah.
And the reunion with Hulk and Black Widow.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I thought it could have been better. I felt.
Yeah, that's true, and it was extremely short too. You know.
Short.
But you know, I'm not a big fan of the whole romance in the movie anyway. Really, even from Age of Ultron, it was a little much.
It didn't bother me, honestly.
I like the fact they have like a connection, but it just seems like in shittier side movie, like other movies that try to go about and do this, they put too much emphasis on romances, and it's just like, come on, guys, let's just tell a story without anyone trying to like get the feelies for someone.
Which I will say, the pace of this movie was again fantastic,
flawless. It didn't feel like a 2.5-hour movie at all.
No, I mean, I literally felt like I was watching, you know, an Avengers animated series on Saturday morning. It was great.
We were going all over the place, like, and literally, it didn't waste any time. Like, we just jumped right into it.
Right into it. So we'll say you definitely need to see Thor. After Thor ended. If you haven't seen Ragnarok, which
definitely a good one to refresh yourself with.
Yes, definitely good.
Yeah, yesterday before and earlier today I was kind of rewatching through. I went and rewatched all the Avengers because I didn't have time to rewatch all the movies, so I was just watching them in like little blocks of like certain ones. So I watched like the Avengers, and then I went back and watched the Captain Americas, but then I didn't get past Winter Soldier after that. So oh yeah, and
something was on my mind.
To add on to the Avengers, Spider-Man is currently slated to come out July of next year.
Oh, I hope that's an Into the Spider-Verse movie. I would just and anything's possible now that they've went on the celestial scale of these movies. You know,
yeah, they can go Nothing is off limits.
No, I mean, it used to be, you think, oh, no, you never see that in the movie. But, I mean, literally no character's off limits. Like, I hope to see, hardcore Celestial fan characters like, you have, like, the Living Tribunal and, stuff like that. And I think that's super possible now. So that's going to be interesting to see if they actually put that into a movie or not.
And hopefully get a decent version of Galactus on screen.
Oh, yeah. That's not a big floating cloud of
Storm
disappointment.
cloud.
Yeah.
Sorry to rain on your parade.
Now here's a disappointment cloud. That's your character. One thing that's interesting, and
God, that was awful.
Yeah, that was bad. But in Guardians and in this movie as well, when they go to nowhere where the Collector is, the big head you see in Guardians, you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That's a dead Celestial, is what that is. So it's interesting to see that they've already put that element into the movies. In a way, in small Easter egg pieces. So I'd really like to see more of that in the future. So I hope they go in that direction and just make the universe just as big as it can possibly freaking be. So
yeah,
I will say this movie it Doctor Strange a little bit more. I definitely am not a fan of Doctor Strange. So his movie, that's on the bottom. Marvel favorite movies.
I'll do this. It's in my top 5. I love that movie. I did because of how much it just reminds me of Inception. Inception's such a great movie, and
it didn't do anything for me.
I don't know. I love the whole theme behind Doctor.
Appreciate his character a little bit more. This one.
I think they gave him more depth in this movie for sure, than they did in his standalone film.
Yeah, they and it was cool because they actually had someone that just stand up to Tony. Most people they just kind of like let Tony do Tony things, but he was just straight up just like, you're stupid. No, we don't need to do that.
Well, I think it's because a lot of people can't really match Tony's intelligence, but for Doctor Strange, a dude that's been on crazy dimensions and been in magic realms, your intelligence really doesn't mean shit because you don't know anything that you think you do. So
yeah, Strange's knowledge is just on a totally different scale than Stark's.
Exactly.
And again, it was nice to see Stan Lee's little cameo as the bus driver.
That was nice. That was cool.
Yeah.
It's cool because he was in...
You act like you've never seen a spaceship before.
Living in New York, it's a normal thing. So, I guess, real quick, let's just go ahead and give our final thoughts, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up, because we just wanted to have a little quick powwow to just kind of get a lot, because we walked out of there, we were super stoked. I mean, I was rocking my Captain Spidey suit, so we were all just having a good time.
Which was epic, by the way.
Yeah, I got a mass applause when I walked into the theater. It was pretty cool. And,
did you really?
Yeah, and the theater was cool with me wearing it. I asked them, and they're like, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. I was like, yes. But one thing I wanted to go real quick, just to kind of a quick look ahead. I know we always as the second the movie comes out and we see it, we're already thinking ahead, and we don't spend enough time appreciating the movie and the now. But we know you're going to want to know these things, and we kind of want to know these things, so we're still going to share them with you. Not that the new movie isn't great. You got to look at the big picture. I mean, they've been building this franchise for 10 years, and they've got movies planned for another 4 years. So this thing probably is easily going to go to a good 15, maybe 20-year run. Who knows what they're going to do in this? I went back when I was watching, Captain America, and then just seeing from that to now, just every aspect of those productions has just come a huge step. Whether it's just cast, quality, effects, and everything. But I think as of right now, the only ones we have slated that we know for sure are the ones that we mentioned, the Ant-Man and Wasp, which is this year, and then we've got 3 next year, which is weird. The 3 next year are March, May, and July for Captain Marvel, Avengers, and then Spider-Man 2. So it's weird that they're going to put them all early in the year. I know Star Wars is going to be coming out later that year in December, but I mean, they could still go for you'd think an October, November, just kind of space them out a little bit. So I wonder what, I guess it's because they probably have some of their other Disney animated titles coming out. And
Yeah, they do.
They don't want them to compete with it, so they're pushing all these towards, because these are summer months kind of and spring months, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, they have like Incredibles coming out, stuff like that. There's a lot of big Pixar movies and
Incredibles 2.
Yeah, and they also have a what is the name of that one? It's a live action film.
Mary Poppins.
No, it's not Mary Poppins. It's another one. I can't remember it right now. It's all.
Have you got that Christopher Robin?
Yeah, that
there's that one, and then there's one more. This is gonna bug me.
While you're thinking on that one, I'm gonna go over some quick numbers real quick. That's kind of pretty interesting to see. So have you ever used the Atom app, Sean?
I'm sorry, what?
Have you ever heard of the Atom app?
That's the movie tickets, right? Like Fandango?
Yeah. They released, that movie was A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, that's what it is, A Wrinkle in Time. I remember that.
But they reported that Infinity War set the record for highest pre-sale ever. And then
that's just through them, right?
Yeah, through them. And they said pre-sales were 7% higher than the previous record holder, which was The Last Jedi, and 250% higher than Black Panther at the same point in their pre-sales. And all that was on that's on Variety if you want to check that out, and we'll throw these links up for you. But it's looking at making opening, and it's domestic opening, that is, between 216 to 235 million. And as far as globally, it could potentially break anywhere from 470 to maybe even $500 million. And I think it can get it, knowing what these movies have done, especially once they hit China. Like this movie, like China is gonna eat this shit up. Like they're like, oh man, it was just all over the place. Like, and they love that's why those movies do really well over there, because they're all about that destruction and the heroes.
Well, New York got hit very little this time around. They took the fight to Thanos and then Wakanda.
Yeah,
were really the two places of two fronts, really.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting to kind of see how they brought those two together. I'm just gonna go and say this. I did feel like I was watching episode 1 a little bit there with the energy dome.
Definitely.
Right, yeah. Yep. Except for battle droids could walk through that. Yeah. These things.
Yeah, these things. They were like crawling through it, and like their body was like deteriorating, and
yeah, the Outriders were definitely super cool to see on screen, and they were mindless monsters like they were supposed to be. So I was really happy with those.
Yeah, and if it wants to break,
at least they're kind of scary.
If it wants to break the top 10 for opening, the least it has to make is over 169.2 million, and that's to beat Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 2. And to take the number 1 spot, it would need to pass pretty much 248 million to pass The Force Awakens. So anywhere between there, and it's got some things. It'd be nice to have to put if it could get back up there on that number 1 spot, because that means like the top 5 all-time opening movies are like between Star Wars, Jurassic, and Marvel. Like, it's a good time to be a nerd,
right?
Yeah,
say that.
It really, really is.
What trailers did y'all get? Any new trailers?
Nothing new. I mean, we got the Venom trailer. Which, do you want to go ahead and throw that on here real quick, since it's Marvel related? It came out the day after our last episode.
Yeah.
Want to give any quick thoughts on that real quick? You've seen that? I mean, you saw that, yeah? Wasn't it?
I've seen it, and I've got mixed feelings about it right now, honestly.
A lot of people were complaining about the
symbiote. Yeah, not feeling that.
And see, at first I thought it was like her accent, and it was just how she, pronunciated it. But I mean, I'm being told by several people that it's not. That's just how she's
Purposely making me cringe.
Yeah. It's kind of like how in Avatar: The Last Airbender they called him Aang instead of Aang. I feel like it's that. I feel like it's just like a jab to the fandom. It's just like, why did you do that? You didn't need to do that. It was fine the way it was before.
Yeah, it was perfect the way it was.
But no, I mean, it is still part of. I mean, we do see that it is coming from space, and it's interesting that it's called the Life Foundation. And that one movie, remember the one movie called Life that came out, and people were thinking was a prequel to Venom.
Yeah, with Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, and I think Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of looked like it, but I don't think it is. I mean, that would have been cool if that's how they set that up. But I mean, I'm interested. I like Tom Hardy. He's always done good work.
Better Eddie Brock than Topher Grace.
Yeah, I mean, he has the build for it more.
Yeah.
Topher Grace just wasn't really. He didn't have that build.
He really had nothing going for that character.
Yeah. I mean, it looked pretty much straight out of the animated series, though. Watching him in that suit, how it would just like, come right off his body, and just like it was on it.
Get all tentacly, yeah.
And how he was like talking to himself, like showing that it's already like starting to take over his head. And
he won.
Why would we do that?
I did like the relationship between Eddie Brock and Venom. That really reminded me a lot of. I mean, honestly, it reminded me a lot of the old '90s cartoons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
he kind of looks a lot like him. Not as a lot of those '90s characters. Even Peter Parker were very triangly. Up at the top, but they were very like
angly,
top bulk heavy.
Well, if you go back and you look at the styles of comics back then,
that was
from '90s. I mean, over the top was the way to go.
Right.
I mean, you look at books from that era, and you have guys that are look like they grew up on bowls of steroids instead of cereal for breakfast, and women are drawn like as busty as possible,
right?
And and the cartoons kind of got a little bit of that in the process, I think.
Like, see this right here. Like, look how bulk he is there. Like, this thing is from
98, 97, guaranteed.
95.
Yeah, right around that era. Yeah.
I saw Sean. You've seen it. My old like 8-inch tall Spider-Man that's like super ripped.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's in the 90s, I mean, like
it's super bulky.
Spider-Man's. He's supposed to be aerodynamic and acrobatic, and in high school, and the kid is looking like Mr. Olympia.
All right. All right, so I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. So hey buddy, you're good. Mr. Suggins is I think he's wanting to go play somewhere. The O word. If you have a dog, I'm sure you know what the O word is.
Oh.
So so go check out the movie if you haven't already, and if you haven't already and you listen to this, I mean,
you knew the risk.
Yep, you do you, but
spoiler alert.
See, even he was warned. He's anxious. He needs to see it, but he can't till it comes out on Blu-ray. So it's rough. He's living a rough life. So until next time, I'm the other Luke.
I'm the other host.
And I'm Zach Thrift, aka the Cannibal. Thanks, guys.
And we'll nerd with you later.